Hello, Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Eden Zero, Chapter 123. When we left our heroes, we continued off with the cliffhanger from 121 as we saw Mueller's confrontation with Hermit and Wise. The two of them were kind of quickly incapacitated. Wise was electrocuted, and Hermit was bound with these kind of digital cuffs, and with the promise of more torture. That was kind of a dour storyline. Clean is also kind of reacting to somebody bad being here, presumably Mueller, though also possibly Justice. Given that the rest of the chapter is dedicated to Shiki and Homura running the B Squad 1, and then victory of the Justice Squad, who quickly takes out B Squad 1 with one punch. And then Justice and Shiki meet. Shiki mentions being friends with Elsie, and Justice declares Elsie the most evil criminal of all, which is an interesting thing, given everything we know about Elsie. And then captures Homura, and so Shiki starts to fight Justice. So all that being said, let's jump right on into Chapter 123, The Light of Justice. And our picture here is of a witch cooking some kind of stew for Couch Po. It's just a picture. We open right where we left off with Justice having caught Shiki's gravity punch. And Justice just stares at him dispassionately. As Shiki, I love the contrast between the two of them, because Justice is clean. He is, there's not a speck of dirt on him. Whereas Shiki has been fighting for hours, he's dealt with a fire, he's dealt with orcs, he's ran away from bots. He's had a day. He's had a full day. But anyway, as we're looking at each other, Justice says, "The Interstellar Union Army was formed to strike down the evil that runs rampant through the cosmos. Be it the Erasion Seis Galactica, Ziggy, or lawless space voyagers like you." I mean, that's harsh, given that all he's kind of done is make the world a better place. Or the galaxy a better place. And he throws Shiki back. Gwah! Lawless? Yeah, Shiki's right there. The Eden Zero is an unregistered ship. Its former owners were Ziggy and Elsie, correct? It seems this will require further investigation. Okay. And then Shiki gets up and dashes towards Justice. Don't even think about it. We only let friends on our ship. And then it looks like... I'm trying to figure out if we see Shiki... He's either doing some kind of roundabout kick, or he tried to do a normal kick and has been pushed back by Justice. I think it's the former. I think he kind of does a backflip kick sort of thing, I think. It's kind of hard to make out, though. Don't know why, but my throat is sorer than usual tonight, which is bad. And Justice counters, "Allow me to allay your concerns. You are about to die. You have no future beyond this point." And he shoots a beam at Shiki, and Shiki dodges it and lands on a tree. "Your government is awfully aggressive." And Justice asks, "Are you trying to say we're oppressive?" Of course, normally, there are certain protocols that must be followed. We are not allowed to cause harm to civilians. However, those of us in the Erasion Seis Interstellar are given certain privileges. We have the right, in any situation, to eradicate any target we determine to be evil. Okay. So they're kind of an unaccountable police state. Okay. That's a thing. I feel like also, the whole deal with the Union Army here is, I don't think this is a storyline that's assuaging anyone's fears about the story kind of just being space One Piece. I think it's a lot bigger than, I think it's a lot more than just Space One Piece. And that those are mostly surface comparisons, but there are a lot of surface comparisons here. Justice very much kind of feels like a Marine in One Piece. Especially when they start talking about the government being oppressive is very. I mean, that's a theme in many stories. But the specific way that justice is oppressive here is very reminiscent of One Piece, to me at the very least. Anyway, we have the right in any situation to eradicate any target we determine to be evil. And Shiki, is shocked at that, and we see Justice starting his ether gear. The Demon King power I sense in your ether, your link with Elsie. You may be a mere boy, but if allowed to live, you will certainly become a great evil one day. Ergo, I will execute you right here and now, in the name of justice. And we see his full body ether gear. And his hair is turned presumably blue because he's the Jalal of the series. But he has this long black cloak. That also would not be out of place in Fairy Tail. It's not directly a Jalal outfit, but it is the kind of thing I could see Jalal in. But it's a cool look. It's a really cool look. And Shiki is shocked at a sudden transformation. Meteor. And he just lunges at Shiki, punches him in the gut, and just drags him along with him. Gwah! And throws Shiki into a tree. Shiki goes through the tree and through what might be a mountain too behind him. And as Shiki lands, Justice flies over to him and goes for another punch that Shiki just barely dodges. He jumps up. But Justice reappears right behind Shiki and slams him back down to the ground. Shiki's getting pummeled. He is getting pummeled. As Shiki is headed towards the ground, Justice zooms back around to knee Shiki in the face. Shiki coughs up blood just to get elbowed in the head by Justice, and then more punches, and he's just getting battered here. No holds barred. He has no chance. And as Justice finally stops, as Shiki is still being battered by him, Meteor Frenzy. And Shiki, his clothes torn, bleeding, in utter shock, hits the ground. What's happening? He's too fast. Did Elsie hide her abilities from her friends, too? And that gets Shiki shocked. My ether gear gives me the same power as hers. Star Drain. Okay. That's interesting. Because the question then becomes, what is their connection? There has to be something for them to have the same powers. We absorb a planet's ether and make it our own. The power is equal to that which was feared in the Dark Ages as heavenly body magic, a force that could control the stars. Okay. Also interesting. Heavenly body magic, if I'm not mistaken, is the exact term used for Jalal's magic. Which, as I said, in the earlier Elsie chapter of this arc, is also, Elsie's attacks have a lot of are Grand Chariot and Seven Stars and things that are Jalal's attacks. So, and we know, or we possibly know, if we do a really, really weird thing and consider Heroes to be canon. Because if Heroes is canon, then Earthland is a planet somewhere in the Sakura cosmos. I'm going to go completely off the walls here. What if humanity started on Earthland? Or maybe Earthland is just a planet stuck in another time? Maybe, possibly, maybe it was... Okay, no. Here's my theory. Okay, so Um, Humanity started on Earthland. It eventually develops, spacefaring technology, takes to the stars, and then it gets chronophaged. Then bringing Earthland back to some time before the time of Fairy Tale, so that Fairy Tale can eventually play out over the centuries. And then when the Eden Zero gang goes to Earthland, the origin point of humanity, that they have not realized that yet because of chronophage bullshit. Okay, I'm probably out of my fucking mind, but I think I'm onto something. In the Dark Ages is heavenly body magic. I mean, it's probably just Mashima, referencing his past works like he likes to do, but also with heroes in the loop. What if there's more? I'm also still not sure how Ravemaster fits in with Earthland, given that they have had their own, their own crossovers as well as heroes, where they're both on the same planet. One of these days I'm going to read Ravemaster, and I'll actually have answers for all these questions. But anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Let's get back to the story. Now, to finish you. I can't move. And Justice gets into that familiar pose. 7 stars. Pass your judgment. Grand Chariot. And he hits Shiki with the full force of a Grand Chariot. We see... Is Shiki dead again? Did Shiki just get killed again? Normally, if it weren't for Shiki's death by Draken back in, chapter 80-something, I'd be like, no, of course someone's gonna save him. But also, he could die. We have time travel. We can fix it. And Justice says, "Be gone, Demon King spawn." And then I was honestly, a part of me was still expecting, someone to swoop in the last minute on the next page. But no, we come back to the satellite with Mueller and Hermit. As Mueller is getting those fucking tentacles up in Hermit's business, admittedly not sexually, which is a relief, but it could happen. Mueller says, and Hermit is still kind of, bound by the cuffs. Now, let's begin with an experiment to test the speed of an android's pain receptors in reaction to ether fission. No, don't. Ugh. And we see the tentacles are now firmly pressed up against her, it looks like. Come now, what happened to your usual smile? Smile like you always do. Go on, smile. Smile. And Wise is still on the ground, trying to crawl his way towards Mueller. You evil. Get away from Hermit, creep. Oh, don't bother. My pulse paralyzed your nerves. You won't be able to move for some time. And Wise just growls up at him. Grr. And then Mueller looks at him. Wait. I think I've seen you before. No. I'm imagining it. Oh, he knows Alpha Wise. Somehow. And then he flashes back to Hermit calling him Wise. Wise Steiner? The robotics genius? No, he's too young. Is he a descendant? Wait, no, he was a lifelong bachelor. That's not possible. And then he suddenly remembers, of course, his homeworld was attacked by a chronophage, which means this is a young iteration of the actual Wise Steiner. And then Wise just kind of grins. I guess I'm pretty darn famous in my future. Among scientists, yes. You proved the Bry theory. But you didn't publish your findings in any academic journals. You gave up all your chances at fame and fortune, you freak. What is the Bry theory? I doubt that's an actual that's based on any actual science. A very, very fast Google search turns up nothing. So it's probably just something that Mashima made up, but maybe it's based on something real, possibly. The point is, Alpha Wise did not, make himself famous. And Wise responds, I'm really doomed if you're calling me a freak. And now the brilliant scientist's brain is here before me. And with that, he, stops paying attention to Hermit and wraps up Wise with his little fucking wire tentacles. We see Hermit holding back tears. And then we leave that plot line again to go back to Shiki and Justice. As we see Shiki still alive, grunting. On the ground, prone, powerless before Justice. And Shiki looks up at Justice. You surprise me. To think you'd still be alive after that. And then he forms something in his hand. I'll put you out of your misery now. Spear of light to pierce through evil. Antares. Is Antares another Jalal reference? Because, Grand Chariot obviously is. But a quick search through there's an Altaris in Jalal's spells, according to the Fairy Tale Wiki. But I don't think that's the same thing as Antares. Possibly. Maybe it's a Raidmaster reference? Possibly? Maybe? I'm not gonna waste too much time with that. Anyway, he readies the Antares spear against Shiki. And just then, Elsie arrives. And that's a great panel, as we see Elsie just, stare down Justice. And Justice yells, Elsie! And Elsie, takes her place in front of Shiki. I'm sorry, Shiki. This is my fault. And Shiki the only thing he can say is just, Homerus. And Elsie responds, I know. Don't worry about her. My crew will get her back. And Shiki seems satisfied at that. We just gotta get a little bit of a ... And then we see Elsie. How dare you hurt Shiki like this? And then Shiki shudders. You'll pay, Justice. He shudders from the sheer force of her while she's focused on Justice. Which shows just how much determination Elsie has right now as the chapter ends. And we might not know... we might not know what happens for another 3 weeks. Because, fun fact, this chapter was supposed to come out next week. And for some reason it got to Crunchyroll a week early, which is why we're here. Which happens whenever, a lot of the time, Eden Zero takes a break. It'll take a break the next week, and the chapter will get published a week early for some reason. I don't really understand it. But what's supposed to happen is that there's a break this week, no break next week, and then a break the week after that. But instead, we have this chapter, which means a break next week. And so if the next 2 chapters play out the way they're supposed to, then the next chapter, then 2 weeks from now, will also be a break. Meaning we won't get 124 until 3 weeks from now, which is 2021. Though it might end up being that second break week, like how this chapter came out a week early, possibly. So it's going to be at least 2 weeks until we find out what happens next. And yeah, if this is the last chapter we get in 2020, it's a great chapter to go out on. Just the utter pummeling Shiki takes at the hands of Justice, sets him up as a threat like nothing else. He just utterly beats the shit out of Shiki. It's not even, Draken, Shiki was able to, attack, even from the beginning. He had, if I recall correctly, it wasn't just completely, 100% pummeled with no chance of fighting back from the very beginning. Whereas here, Shiki's just fucked. He has absolutely nothing he can do. Justice overpowers him in every single manner. And he would have died again, were it not for Elsie's timely arrival, giving us the Elsie Justice fight, and hopefully backstory that's been teased for 100 chapters now. And that's going to be great. And then we also have Mueller and Wise, which honestly doesn't leave that storyline in too different a place than when we found it. All that's really changed is that now Mueller is focused on Wise instead of Hermit. But still, there is, seemingly no hope against Mueller. There's no plan forming. There's no sign that there's anything else going on besides Mueller just torturing the hell out of Wise and Hermit. So that's kind of inert for now. But the Shiki Justice Elsie content more than makes up for it. And I am so excited to see how this all plays out. So yeah, that's kind of all I have to say for this video. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, do whatever makes you happy, And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!